The crystal chandeliers of the Metropolitan Arts Center blazed with 1,000 points of light, casting their glow over the most exclusive charity gala of the season. Elara Chen adjusted the delicate silver chain of her modest black dress for what felt like the 100th time, her fingers trembling slightly as she watched the parade of designer gowns and expensive jewelry float past her. She had coordinated every detail of this event, from the flower arrangements to the seating chart. But now that the evening was in full swing, she might as well have been a ghost. Standing near the grand staircase with its crimson carpet and golden railings, Elara observed the social dance unfolding before her. Wealthy donors mingled with art collectors, their laughter echoing off the marble floors as champagne flowed freely. She recognized faces from magazine covers and society pages, people who lived in a world so far removed from her small apartment and student loan payments that they might as well have been from different planets. Her client, Miranda Beaumont, glided through the crowd in a stunning emerald gown that probably cost more than Elara's annual salary. Miranda had hired her event coordination company 6 months ago, and Elara had poured her heart into making this gala perfect. Every detail had been executed flawlessly, yet Miranda had barely acknowledged her presence since the guests began arriving. The wealthy socialite was too busy accepting compliments and taking credit for the evening's success. A group of impeccably dressed women stood near the champagne fountain, their voices carrying across the polished floor. Elara caught fragments of their conversation, each word landing like a small cut on her already wounded pride. "Did you see that girl by the stairs? She must be with the catering staff." "Actually, I think she's the coordinator Miranda hired. Some nobody from a small firm downtown." How generous of Miranda to give her this opportunity. Though she does look rather out of place, doesn't she? Elara's cheeks burned with humiliation. She wanted to walk over and tell them that she had graduated top of her class, that she had built her business from nothing, that she had worked 18-hour days to make this event perfect. But the words died in her throat, just like they always did. Instead, she moved toward the quieter gallery wing, desperate for a moment of peace away from the judgmental stares. The gallery was dimly lit, with spotlights illuminating various paintings and sculptures. Classical music drifted softly from hidden speakers, creating a sanctuary from the noise of the main ballroom. Elara found herself standing before a large painting of a woman alone in a crowded city street, surrounded by people yet completely isolated. The irony wasn't lost on her. She had always been good at making herself invisible. Growing up as the daughter of immigrants who worked multiple jobs to support their family, she had learned early that quiet competence was safer than drawing attention. Her parents had sacrificed everything to give her opportunities they never had, and she had worked tirelessly to make them proud. But nights like tonight reminded her that no matter how hard she worked, there would always be doors closed to people like her. Lost in her thoughts, she didn't notice the man approaching until he spoke. Remarkable, isn't it? Elara turned to find herself face to face with the most striking man she had ever seen. He stood over 6 feet tall, with dark hair that swept back from a face that belonged on a movie screen. His tuxedo fit him perfectly, tailored to emphasize broad shoulders and a lean frame. But it was his eyes that captured her attention, a deep gray that seemed to see right through her carefully constructed walls. "The painting," he clarified when she didn't respond immediately. The way the artist captured isolation in the midst of a crowd. "It's quite powerful." "Yes," Elara managed, finding her voice. "Sometimes being surrounded by people makes loneliness even more acute." He studied her face with an intensity that made her heart race. "You understand it personally, I think." It wasn't a question, and the accuracy of his observation caught her off guard. Before she could formulate a response, he extended his hand. "Adrian Castellano." The name sent a shock through her system. Adrian Castellano was one of the wealthiest philanthropists in the city, his family name synonymous with old money and influence. His presence at the gala wasn't surprising, but finding him alone in the quiet gallery wing, speaking to her as if she mattered, was completely unexpected. "Elara Chen," she replied, shaking his hand. His grip was warm and firm, sending an unexpected jolt of awareness through her. The brilliant coordinator behind tonight's event, Adrian said, surprising her again. Miranda mentioned she had hired someone exceptional, though she failed to mention just how talented you are. The attention to detail is extraordinary, warmth spread through Ilara's chest. You notice the details? I always notice what matters, he said simply. The way you paired the flowers with the artwork themes, how the lighting creates different moods in each section of the venue, even the timing of the service so conversations aren't interrupted. It shows someone who truly understands how spaces affect people. No one had ever articulated exactly what she tried to achieve with her work. Most clients just wanted things to look expensive. But Adrian had seen the intention behind her choices, the psychology she incorporated into every decision. That means more than you know, Ilara said softly. Adrian moved to stand beside her, both of them gazing at the painting. I find these events exhausting, he admitted. Everyone wants something. A donation, a connection, an introduction to someone else. It's all very transactional. Why come then? Ilara asked, then immediately regretted her boldness. I'm sorry, that was too forward. Not at all, Adrian assured her, a slight smile playing at his lips. It's refreshing to hear honest questions instead of careful flattery. I come because the causes matter, even if the social performance is tiresome. Though I confess, I often escape to quieter corners to maintain my sanity. Like this gallery, Ilara observed. Exactly like this gallery. His gray eyes met hers again, though tonight I seem to have found something far more interesting than paintings. Ilara's pulse quickened. Was he actually flirting with her? Men like Adrian Castellano didn't notice women like her, especially not at events like this. As if reading her thoughts, Adrian continued. I watched you earlier before you retreated here. The way you observed the room, checking details, ensuring everything flowed smoothly. You cared deeply about your work? It's more than work, Ilara found herself saying. Creating experiences that bring people together, making moments memorable. That's what drives me. Even if sometimes I feel like I'm on the outside looking in. The outsider's perspective is often the clearest, Adrian said thoughtfully. Those of us born inside these circles rarely see them honestly. We're too close, too invested in maintaining the illusions. His candor was disarming. Ilara had expected superficial charm, but Adrian spoke with genuine thoughtfulness. They talked for nearly an hour, conversation flowing naturally from art to philosophy to their very different childhoods. Adrian shared stories of the pressure and expectations that came with his family name, while Ilara spoke of her immigrant parents' dreams and sacrifices. You know, Adrian said eventually, I came here tonight dreading every moment, but you've made it worthwhile. I should get back, Ilara said reluctantly, aware she had been away from the main event too long. Miranda might need something. Before you go, Adrian said, his voice taking on a more serious tone, I have a rather unusual question to ask you. Ilara's heart hammered as she waited. How would you feel about helping me with a problem? I need someone by my side tonight. Someone genuine who won't treat me like a walking checkbook. Someone who actually sees me as a person rather than an opportunity. Understanding dawned slowly. You want me to pretend to be your date? I want you to be exactly who you are, Adrian corrected gently. Just near me. The pretense isn't about our connection. It's about giving me a legitimate reason to avoid the vultures circling the ballroom. Ilara hesitated. Every logical instinct told her this was dangerous territory. But looking into Adrian's gray eyes, she saw something that resonated with her own loneliness. Perhaps they were both outsiders in their own ways. All right, she heard herself saying, for tonight. Adrian's smile transformed his entire face, revealing genuine warmth beneath the polished exterior. Thank you, Ilara. You have no idea what this means to me. As they walked back toward the ballroom together, Ilara felt the weight of curious stares. But with Adrian's presence beside her, steady and sure, she stood a little taller. For the first time all evening, she didn't feel invisible. She didn't feel alone anymore. The transformation was immediate and remarkable. The moment Ilara and Adrian entered the main ballroom together, the entire atmosphere shifted. Conversations paused mid-sentence, heads turned, and the whispers that had once dismissed her now buzzed with curiosity and speculation. Ilara felt Adrian's hand rest lightly on her lower back, a gesture both protective and somehow intimate, guiding her through the crowd with quiet confidence. Miranda Beaumont noticed them first, her perfectly sculpted eyebrows rising in surprise, as she took in the sight of her event coordinator on the arm of one of the evening's most important guests. For the first time since the gala began, Miranda approached Ilara directly, her smile bright and calculating. "Ilara, darling," Miranda said, as if they had been close friends all evening. "I've been looking everywhere for you. And Adrian, how wonderful to see you. I had no idea you two knew each other." "We've just had the pleasure of meeting," Adrian replied smoothly, his tone polite but cool. "Ilara was showing me the remarkable details of the event she coordinated. Her work is exceptional." Miranda's smile tightened almost imperceptibly. "Yes, she's been quite helpful with the planning, though of course the overall vision was a collaboration." "The execution is what matters," Adrian said, his words carefully chosen. "Anyone can have ideas. It takes real talent to bring them to life with such precision and artistry." The subtle correction wasn't lost on Miranda, whose expression flickered between annoyance and the need to maintain appearances in front of Adrian. Ilara felt a surge of gratitude mixed with disbelief. No one had ever defended her work so directly, especially not to a client. The evening continued with Adrian introducing Ilara to various guests, each introduction delivered with genuine respect that elevated her status simply by association. She met a renowned museum director who praised her coordination skills, a technology entrepreneur who asked for her business card, and several board members of major cultural institutions who expressed interest in her services. The same women who had mocked her earlier now smiled politely, their previous cruelty replaced with barely concealed envy. Victoria Chen, a fashion blogger who had loudly criticized Ilara's dress, now complimented her understated elegance. The hypocrisy was almost amusing, though it also reinforced how fragile social acceptance truly was in this world. As they moved through the crowd, Ilara began to see cracks in Adrian's polished exterior. He greeted people with practiced charm, but she noticed how his smile never quite reached his eyes during most interactions, how his shoulders tensed when certain individuals approached, how he subtly steered them away from particularly persistent social climbers. "You're very good at this," Ilara observed quietly during a brief moment of privacy. "At what?" Adrian asked. "The performance, making everyone feel important while keeping them at arm's length." Adrian's expression grew thoughtful. "It's a survival skill when you grow up in this world. Everyone wants something from you, so you learn to be pleasant without being vulnerable. But it's exhausting, always being on guard." "Is that why you really asked me to stay with you tonight?" Ilara ventured. "Not just to avoid business discussions?" Adrian met her gaze directly. "I asked you because in 30 minutes of genuine conversation, you saw me more clearly than people I've known for years. That's rare, Ilara. Rare enough to make me want to spend the evening with someone who doesn't want anything from me except honest company." Before Ilara could respond, a commotion near the main entrance drew their attention. A distinguished older man had just arrived, flanked by several associates who radiated importance and barely concealed aggression. Ilara felt Adrian tense beside her. "That's Richard Thornton," Adrian said quietly, his voice losing its warmth. "The persistent businessman I mentioned earlier. He's been trying to force a merger with my company for months. Hostile takeover dressed up as a partnership opportunity." Thornton spotted Adrian immediately, his predatory smile widening as he began moving through the crowd toward them. His eyes flicked dismissively over Ilara before focusing entirely on Adrian. "Castellano!" Thornton boomed, his voice carrying across the ballroom. "I've been trying to reach you for weeks. We need to discuss the future of Castellano Industries." "There's nothing to discuss, Richard," Adrian replied, his tone professional but firm. "I've made my position clear. The company isn't interested in your proposal." "That's short-sighted thinking," Thornton pressed, moving closer. The market's changing. Your father would have seen the wisdom in consolidation. Adrian's jaw tightened at the mention of his late father. Ilara could feel the tension radiating from him, but before Thornton could continue his aggressive pitch, a loud crash echoed from the catering area. The sound of breaking glass and raised voices drew everyone's attention. Ilara's professional instincts kicked in immediately. She excused herself from Adrian and hurried toward the disturbance, her coordinator mindset overriding her uncertainty about leaving him with Thornton. In the service corridor, she found chaos. Two servers were arguing, one claiming the other had deliberately sabotaged a tray of desserts destined for the presentation ceremony. Broken plates and ruined pastries covered the floor, and the head caterer looked close to panic. "What happened?" Ilara asked, taking control of the situation. The story emerged quickly. A scheduling miscommunication had led to overlapping break times, leaving the kitchen understaffed during a critical service period. Tensions had escalated, resulting in the accident that now threatened to derail the evening's carefully planned schedule. Ilara's mind raced through solutions. How many desserts were ruined? "About 40% of what we need for the presentation," the head caterer admitted. "The local bakery 3 blocks away owes me a favor," Ilara said quickly. "They close at midnight, but the owner lives upstairs. Call her. Tell her it's urgent for the Beaumont Gala and have them prepare emergency desserts. I'll have a car service pick them up in 20 minutes. She turned to the arguing servers. "You two will split the cost of the replacement desserts from your pay. Right now, I need you to clean this area and resume service. We have 200 guests who expect perfection." Her authority, born from years of crisis management, cut through the chaos. Within minutes, the situation was under control. The servers were working together efficiently, and the bakery was preparing emergency supplies. When Ilara returned to the ballroom, she found Adrian had extracted himself from Thornton and was waiting near the gallery entrance. His expression transformed when he saw her, relief and something warmer flooding his features. "Crisis averted?" he asked. "Just a minor disaster in the making," Ilara said with a tired smile. "Nothing that can't be fixed with quick thinking and a few phone calls." Adrian studied her face, admiration clear in his eyes. "You're remarkable, you know that? The way you took control back there, solving problems while everyone else was panicking. That's real leadership." "It's just my job," Ilara said, uncomfortable with the praise. "No," Adrian insisted. "It's who you are. You see problems and fix them. You care about outcomes, not credit. You work with excellence regardless of whether anyone's watching." He paused, his voice dropping to something more intimate. "You have no idea how attractive that is." Ilara's breath caught. The way Adrian looked at her made her feel seen in a way she had never experienced. Not as a service provider or a background coordinator, but as a woman worthy of genuine admiration. "Ilara," Adrian continued, taking her hand gently, "I know we just met tonight, but I haven't felt this connected to someone in years, maybe ever. You make me remember why I loved working to build things, before it became about defending my father's legacy and fighting off corporate vultures." "Adrian," Ilara started, uncertain where this was leading. "I have a proposition," he said. "Not a business one, a personal one." Her heart hammered against her ribs. "Spend time with me," Adrian said simply. "Real time. Not at events like this. Let me take you to dinner. Show you parts of the city you've never seen. Let me get to know the woman who creates beautiful experiences for others but never seems to experience them herself." Ilara hesitated. Every insecurity she had ever felt about belonging in worlds beyond her own rising to the surface. "We're from different worlds, Adrian. Tonight has been wonderful, but tomorrow you'll go back to your life, and I'll go back to mine." "What if I don't want to?" Adrian challenged gently. "What if I'm tired of living in a world where everything is transactional and nothing is real?" "You make me feel real, Ilara. That's worth more than any business deal or social connection." Looking into his gray eyes, Ilara saw vulnerability that matched her own. Perhaps they were both lonely in different ways, both searching for authentic connection in a world that valued appearance over substance. "Okay," she whispered. "Yes." Adrian's smile was radiant, transforming his entire face. He raised her hand to his lips, pressing a gentle kiss to her knuckles that sent electricity through her entire body. The evening concluded with the successful presentation ceremony, the emergency desserts arriving just in time to maintain the illusion of effortless perfection. Miranda took her bows to enthusiastic applause, though Adrian made a point of publicly acknowledging Ilara's coordination work, earning her recognition she had never expected. As guests began departing, Adrian walked Ilara to the main entrance. The city spread out before them, lights twinkling in the darkness like fallen stars. "Thank you," Adrian said softly, "for tonight, for being exactly who you are." "Thank you," Ilara replied, "for making me feel like I wasn't alone anymore." Adrian leaned down, his lips brushing her cheek in a kiss that promised more conversations, more moments, more possibilities. Neither of them had anticipated when the evening began. Standing under the Metropolitan Arts Center's grand entrance, Ilara realized that sometimes being invisible in a crowd was simply waiting for the right person to truly see you. And Adrian Castellano had seen her completely. The night that had begun with loneliness and humiliation ended with hope and connection. As Adrian's car pulled away, he looked back through the window, his smile just for her. Ilara stood in the cool night air, no longer feeling forgotten or alone. She felt seen, valued, and on the edge of something wonderful that had nothing to do with wealth or status and everything to do with genuine human connection.